Day 84. Let's read scripture first today. This Psalms chapter 127, verses 1 and 2. It says, "Unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain. Unless the Lord watches over the city, the guards stand watch in vain. In vain you rise early and stay up late, toiling for food to eat, for he grants sleep to those he loves." In my application study Bible, it goes on to say, to provide more context, it says, God is not against human effort. Hard work honors God, but working to the exclusion of rest or to the neglect of family may be a cover-up for an inability to trust God to provide for our needs. We all need adequate rest in times of spiritual refreshment. On the other hand, this verse is not an excuse to be lazy. Be careful to maintain a balance. Work while trusting God, and also rest while trusting Him. We spent so many videos in the past 84 days talking about the grind and pushing hard and not giving excuses when you feel tired. And I think absolutely two things can be true. The tone that reads through to me and that I interpret from reading these first couple verses of the 127th chapter of Psalm is it's like we can hustle and we can grind and we can think we're doing this right thing by, again, at building houses and standing over guard of a city and all these important and life-consuming things. But if we're not trusting and leading with trust in God amidst our busyness, then all of that is in vain. We really think we're pushing forward and we really think we're achieving things, and we get prideful and arrogant about the things we build in our life. But it takes a dose of humility and reflection, I believe, to fully, just humility and reflection to trust God and to think about Him through the correct lens, which is He is the sustainer of life. He goes before us. He is absolutely the reason that we're here and the reason that we need to get where we're going. So frame it like that, and your entire perspective on the hustle, the grind, the hustle culture that we're in will change. And again, it's absolutely not an excuse for laziness. I would argue that you can get through more in life, and you'll be more sustainable, and your energy will last longer if and you're rooted in the true reason of why you're here and you're connected to your Creator amidst the busyness. So my quote and my theme, if you haven't picked up on it already today, is I want to talk about the pitfall of busyness. People, and even myself, I'll often think like, oh, if I get really off track, it'll be because of a temptation. Or if I get really off track, it'll be because a vice that is rearing its head in my life that I've tried to keep at a distance. And a lot of times in life, it's a lot simpler than that in terms of why we fall away, or maybe not even fall away from Jesus, but why we're not leaning in and why we're not living the best life that we can for Him. It's not always some nefarious thing that humans are dabbling into, but sometimes it's just letting the earthly things on your calendar take precedence, and you get so wrapped up in, I've got to go to this game on Tuesday, and I got this event Wednesday, and I got this thing I got to go to on Thursday, and before you know it, life is just absolutely living you. And again, it's just a balance, and I don't know if there's a one size fits all that I could speak to myself or to anyone, but I guess I would say I think all of us know in our own individual lives when things become a little too consuming and when we need to cut things out of our life to add things that are a little bit more beneficial to our soul and to our spirit. If you feel constantly behind the eight ball and that you're dragging yourself to things that are not filling your cup, and especially not filling your spiritual cup, then it's probably time for that reassessment. I often fall into the trap that, like, hey, just because I live in 2025 and I'm running from thing to thing, and culturally it's like I got to do this, and it'd be weird if I didn't do X, Y, and Z. I'm trying to kind of distance myself from certain things of this world, just not even bad things, but things are just, oh, I'm expected to spend this many hours at this event, or this many hours at a work event, like whatever it is. You don't have to follow the norms just because other people are doing them. So I think just Satan really can attack people just amidst their busyness, even if there's not bad intention behind it, is what I'm saying. And I don't know if this quote that I have today will preach per se. I'm not saying it's pointing to anything specific in scripture, but I thought it was just an interesting perspective, and I like learning through people's quotes. And this just simply says, perhaps the truth depends on a walk around the lake. And I'm not suggesting here that you're going to find truth in earthly things by any stretch, but I just mean, like, what if we spend a little bit more time reflecting and contemplating and just being intentional with those actions by simply taking a walk around the lake. Now, I certainly don't think that you should spend your entire day sitting by a lake if you don't have a job that requires that. But and it'd be great if we could. But I'm not suggesting that we just go camping the rest of our life and never come back. But I just wonder, like, I think that quote could be pretty real in our life. Is what if, like, for example, we're praying about a certain circumstance, or maybe we're not even praying about something, and we should be. Hey, God, should I stay at this job or should I move elsewhere? That's not something that I contemplate, but many people do. Or, hey, should I say yes to this or should I say no to this? Whatever the thing is. And what if we just spend a little bit more time asking God and reflecting and taking inventory, like I always say? Sometimes we spend so much time just putting things on the calendar and running from point A to point B that I wonder if a walk around the lake would do us all a little bit good. So again, I believe that I have felt personally attacked in my busyness in the past, even this week at times thus far. But it is not only refreshing, but it's absolutely necessary to take time and set aside time to invest in your relationship with God, and also just invest in yourself by being present, by slowing down. We think that it's so challenging because we become such a slave to our schedule, but I promise it's achievable no matter how many kids you got or how many events you got going on. Like, if you're not taking time for yourself and you're not slowing down and you're not ensuring that the busyness is not consuming you, then I think that you might really benefit from just taking a walk around the lake. So Psalms chapter 127, verses 1 and 2, just reminds me that no matter what we build, if it's not in God and if it's not within his plan for us, it is in vain. And that's day 84.